Now, to go back to the patent thing, this is a protection for intellectual property. Almost all drugs, I think all drugs probably are patented. And that's how you get legal protection from competition. What a patent does, it grants you monopoly rights for a limited period. And it's important to look at the economic theory of monopoly, what that means. But it's also important to understand here that a patent only grants rights for a limited amount of time. And again, you need to check what that time is. I think it's about 21 years. There's a question, by the way, one of the online questions has to do with this, so I think check that, what the length of time you get patent protection for. I think it is 21 years at the moment. Now, part of the thing about patents is that you have to declare what the invention is. So the details of the invention, the drug formulation and so on becomes public. What that means is that potential competitors get to know what you're doing. And when your patent protection runs out, potential competitors can manufacture the same drug practically the next second, because they've already done all the manufacturing process. They're just waiting for the patent to run out. So that means that the type of competition you face changes from when you have patent protection to when the patent runs out. Now, it's important, again, looking at this potential new company, to work out where is the market for medicines. First of all, it's heavily regulated. Again, it's not like the market for furniture, clothes or shoes, which are by and large unregulated, so very, very small things. You need a license to sell that product. You cannot develop a new medicine and just go out there and sell it. You have to prove through a lengthy series of clinical trials and so on that it doesn't harm people. So you need to get a license to sell it. The second thing to understand here, and this is important if you're reading some of the documentation. Unfortunately, a lot of the documentation we have refers to the North American market. Now, there are a very significant difference between the North American market for medicines and the European market for medicines. And the difference is that advertising and marketing to consumers is banned in the European Union. It is not banned in the United States. So in the United States, producers of drugs, let's say for cancer, I don't know, whatever, can actually market their drugs. They can have ads on television saying, if you're suffering from this type of cancer, you should go to your doctor and ask for this medicine. That sort of stuff is simply not allowed in the European Union, which of course includes the UK. What that means is that from the company's point of view, is the doctors, the hospitals, and the UK, the National Health Service, that they need to convince that this is a good thing. So the primary focus is on hospitals and doctors. It's not on consumers. It's the experts that actually give the drugs to the consumers. Again, another thing that's very important in the pharmaceutical market, and something which is not covered very well in simple economic theory, so you have to expand the theory to include this notion. There's a great risk in the pharmaceutical market. It's risky because most drugs that are in development fail to reach the market. They either fail in part of the research and development process, or they fail the clinical trials. For example, it is common for drugs to seem to work, then when they're put through the clinical trials, side effects are discovered. So for example, this drug, let's say it does cure diabetes, but it makes you blind. Making you blind is a side effect. And it would probably be the case that that side effect would be considered too much of a problem to actually give this drug a license. So side effects tend to be discovered in clinical trials, and that's one major reason why drugs fail to get to market. And I think you can check the British Pharmaceutical website, but I think that somewhere on that website they say something like 80 to 90% of drugs that start off in research and development fail to get to market. So it is a very risky business. There's an upfront cost in the research and development which is sunk and lost if the drug does not get to market. So the major firms, those 10 big firms that we had on the concentration slide, they rely on blockbuster drugs. They have a small number of drugs which work very well, which are sold for very high prices, and they make huge profits. And the drug companies use those profits to finance further research and development. And indeed, that's one of the arguments in the pharmaceutical industries from the companies, that they have to charge very high prices for the drugs because they need a high gross profit in order to research and develop new products. Now, a new firm in this business, in other words, will have to finance a very long lead time. It's going to take them 10 years, maybe more, before any potential profit is realized. So there is a great risk in this market, and that's something you have to consider when working out your answer to this problem.